Guys, welcome back for another Badass podcast. Today, we're going to talk to Greg about some changes that we made. We're going to talk about empathy in some of these AI bots because we were talking to our internal bot for a dealership, and Greg basically brought us on the meeting and he showed us a new version of this bot. So, as soon as I picked up the phone, I called the bot, right? It's an inbound call. It instantly knew everything about me. It knew my name. It knew what happened with me on the last conversation, and it just made the conversation feel more real. So a lot of the people that we've been talking to lately, like we just got off a call earlier today, they don't want voice at all. They are really skeptical about AI voice. They're like, no, my in-house team can do a lot better. So we just kind of led to this point where we really started focusing on the empathy of the bot, and I think we got a really good one with Max so far.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another thing that got us excited about doing this podcast is it's just a common pain point. Like we see the students in our community that are trying to get their agency started, whatever, get it off the ground, right? And it's almost like, I don't know, it's such a high percentage of the students that struggle with the sales part. And it's not that hard to get the basic setup, right? Whether it's go high level or I think most students are using Go High Level, which we use too for a lot of our stuff. Nothing wrong with Go High Level. It's a great platform. Then they want help with the website, right? Not that hard. Landing page, not that hard. Like you were helping one of the students, Dan, on the Sunday call. And, with technology, whether it's DeepSight or Lovable, whatever no code tool you want to use, you can put that stuff together fairly quickly. Um, and really more so your experience, not mine, but you know what those assets should look like, right? I mean, you've built many landers, websites, and that's why, like with your experience and those tech tools, that part is easy. And then even the automation of like with the partnership we have on running the ads, again, like an AI partnership, it just takes your ads to another level using AI. And again, you're leveraging AI to maximize the ads on Facebook. And then we're leveraging the AI to engage those cold leads, right? A lot of times through text or chat. And the AI is pretty successful, like getting those appointments booked, getting them to the calendar. And it's like the same identical stopping point that the agency owners have. A lot of the businesses we talk to, they don't convert. And then they either blame the leads or they blame the agency and say, this isn't working, right? It's kind of like, I've tried this before, I'm getting the same result. And we're sitting there thinking, like, man, we improved your website. We gave you a great landing page. We gave you the AI bot, not give as in free, but we set you up for success. The technology piece is working really good. Unfortunately, where the human has to come in, you're dropping the ball, but it's the most critical part, right? I mean, you have to convert. And, that's what got me thinking, like, even from day one, when I started this journey with Max at the dealership, I'm a lot like, our client that we was on the call with today. I'm very concerned, like, how's the customer going to interact with AI? Because it's still new. It's people are not, they're unsure of it. They don't trust it. Well, they don't exactly trust somebody either that shows up on the call with poor skills, poor communication skills. And, one of the things that I've been pretty, I guess, adamant about, A, be a good human, right? Don't be a typical salesperson that you're just trying to sell somebody something, take their money and move on to the next prospect. And, that big E word that you threw out at the beginning of the podcast, empathy, we had one of the students, like 2 weeks ago, I need help. Like, I don't know why my appointments aren't showing up. And it's the exact same problem that the student had on Sunday's call, right? And then you and I started talking a little bit today about the bottleneck, right? Every business has bottlenecks, and sometimes those bottlenecks change in your business. It could be fulfillment, could be lead gen, it could be conversion. I don't know, maybe you're having a problem staffing because you don't do a good job recruiting, you're not retaining employees. I don't know, all the bottlenecks that your business has. Um, but it was the same problem as this student, right? You created the assets for him, right? To get the appointments on the calendar, and we're looking at the show ratio and it's just not there. So I asked you before this podcast, right? We were talking earlier, and I said, well, let's take me through the process, right? And I'm like, okay, well, it's breaking where the human comes in. So kind of the same challenge the other student was having. And that student said, can you listen to some of my calls? And okay, listen to one call. And for me, it was like just screaming, like, um, yeah, it's not good. It's obvious why these people are not getting to the next step. They're not showing up on the demo. And so we started talking about those variables that they need to change, and kind of the same thing with this student. But then it led me to start thinking about, okay, we've built Max for the dealership. Max understands, one of his goals is to understand the customer's position, right? Empathy. And the customer has to feel like you get their situation, right? You understand their pain points. And I don't know, there's just no other way to describe it, that you have to tear that wall down, that you are a salesperson, or in this case, you're a salesperson and AI. So you kind of have two obstacles you have to overcome. And it's just like that feeling that Max gave you when you called, hey, Daniel, right? First thing, he called you by your name because he knows who you are by your number. And then he knew information about you. And all of a sudden, that wall started to come down because he invoked a different feeling in you literally in the first 30 seconds of the call. It totally changed the dynamics. So, my point to you was like, man, we have done this at a very high degree for the dealership. So why can't we do it for other businesses? Because sales is a true skill. Like, it is an art. It's not a science. People try to make it into a science. Well, can you give me a script? Like, that was one of the things a student said, right? They said, can you look at my script? And kind of what I said in a nice way, like, I don't really care about the script. Like, a script is to have talking points, right? A flow to make sure that the conversation flows in a right pattern. You make sure you get your valuable points in. It's a reference, but it's not yes, just follow the script. If you're selling something basic and it's a very short call, okay, could it be scripted? Yeah, for the most part. And we've even already built bots that are successful, taking it from A to Z on a simple sale, low ticket, like even to the point where it takes the credit card, right? Checks out, nice. But when you get into a more sophisticated type of sale with a more sophisticated customer, like in the car business, right? It's a consumer. However, average ticket is $20,000. So do you think that somebody getting ready to spend 20 or 30 grand wants to feel like they're talking to some dumb automation? But they also don't want to feel like they're talking to a typical salesperson who might not know everything they need to know about, in our case, the maintenance plan, the warranty. What did you do to the car, the vehicle? What kind of service work did you do? Can you tell me about the Carfax, right? Like, for me, a big part of sales is telling a story. It's like story time. And it's same thing, like a customer calling about a vehicle. What can you tell me about it, Greg? Right? And in my mind triggers, it's story time. I got to tell a story, not a fake story, right? But I got to tell a story. And when I look back at how much time we put into Max to get him to be empathetic, to know what the heck is going on with the business and with the customer, and I compare it to even our average salesperson, Max is already better. He's already better. And you and I both know the voice platforms are only getting better. I mean, they are the worst that they will ever be today. So now that we have the expertise on how to build the prompt, which, like, if I translate that over to what I just said about you, Dan, like, you can whip up a website quickly. You can whip up a email campaign, a lander, just because you have the experience, and then you put it into the tool to build it. And that's kind of like how my vision is. Like, I'm taking all the experience I have in sales and communication and putting it into a prompt and getting the bot to sell the way I want it to sell. So to think that you can just go build a bot, it's almost like saying, oh yeah, if I give you this script, you're going to be successful. No, the script is just one part. Like, okay, I'll give it to you, but you have to execute at a high level as a human. You got to know when to talk, when to shut up, when to truly understand the customer's needs. And all of that stuff is, most of it is extremely possible right now if you build a really good prompt, but you got to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing. That was the hardest part. We actually did this for someone. We did this for John, and he actually got pretty good results from it. We ran ads for him for painters, and literally the chatbot got them all the way to the appointment. So you can see right here, there were 222 unique contacts within just the last 24 days, and we booked 79 appointments. Over 33% were booking into an appointment just from the chat alone. And some of the reactions that I got, on the sales call were insane because at this point, they're on a demo, they're on a Zoom, they're with me, and they've never spoken to a human. So they thought, because they actually did have conversations. So when I'm telling them that on the Zoom, I'm like, hey, so you filled out a form, on Facebook, you saw the ad, right? Yeah. And they were like, yeah, and then I spoke to somebody. Yeah, so that was our chat bot. That's not an actual human. And literally almost every person was like mind blown because they didn't think that it was. Right. And we're not trying to lie to people. Like if they ask if it's an AI, the bots will respond accordingly. But that's just how it came out in this case, especially for voice. Like it's very hard to fool someone with voice. And we just want to make it clear actually that we are AI, but make it, what's the word I'm looking for? As cognizant as possible. Like if it's really having that empathy and can make a connection by having that data. So this is like an example of a conversation. As soon as they fill out the form on Facebook, hey, just got your submission. So look, he actually opted in at 3 in the morning, and then we texted him at 6:12 in the morning because that's when like the first messagings, will go out for the day.
That just like proves our point time and time again. Like, speed to lead is everything. And when you tell people that AI works 24/7, never calls out, never needs a break, and then you factor in, you got to be there when your customer needs you, right? Like, who knows when their time is available? Look at this prospect in the middle of the night, right? Or what time was it?
So it
Early in the
was 6
morning?
a.m. Yeah, it was 6 a.m. Pacific time, but 9 Eastern, basically.
Okay. Well,
So, but they were replying still. So they instantly started replying. So you do painting? Yes. Perfect. How many jobs are you getting? 2 to 3. Just starting as a painter. Asking the qualifying questions that a human normally would, right? Either on the phone or even through chat. So they're going through it. They ask all the questions. Hey, when are you available? Now. Okay, well, I can get you in today, but you got to pick one of these times. 2. Boom. And then finally books it in. Hey, you're all set. Start sending reminders, start sending out, information before the call. And he says, thanks. So that happened with literally 35% of these leads. And you can see, I guess, like how much time was saved, 3.5 hours, you know. And that's cool. Like maybe it's not a lot of hours saved, but the point is it's there immediately. As soon as we get that first reply, they're texting right away. And I think that, keeps them really engaged. You can actually see right here, 5.5 messages per contact. That's a good lead. Those are like good quality leads. Now, if we just put an AI chat on there, make sure we never miss one, you see the result we get.
yeah, it's amazing. And again, the AI is doing like everything you would want it to do. Like, it's doing better than a human. And maybe I think I talked a little bit about this on one of our last podcasts because we talked about our recruiting app. But, just even like taking all that time off of me in the recruiting process was just like, wow, I was freed up like literally 15, 20 hours that week because the bot's doing all the pre-qualification stuff. Um, and that's where all the time goes. And, the applicants are just thinking it's a human, right? Even when I talk to them, like, oh, yeah, like that bot is Scarlett, right? Like, yeah, I was texting Scarlett. Like, yeah, I know. Okay, Scarlett. But to your point also, Dan, like, we're not trying to fool anybody. Like when, with Max at the dealership, Max identifies himself as AI, and the customer has the option to transfer to a human. But again, if I feel like you already know, like you're not a dumb bot, you know my name, you know the past conversations, and I'll tell you, it's my experience, and God knows how many businesses I've dealt with calling in for my own service, my vendors. I don't often get that level of knowledge or support. You get passed around. Oh, this is, Jane. Okay, Jane, like, oh, you were talking to Sarah. Well, Sarah's off today. So do you want to call back tomorrow? Because Jane doesn't know what the heck Sarah and I talked about. And it's just frustrating to me. No, I don't want to wait till tomorrow. I want service now, right? Like my time is free now, which is why I called you. Same with the people buying the car, right? They got a break from work. They just got off work. I don't know. It's their day off. It's convenient for them. They get home. It's our bots having conversations sometimes at 11, 12, 1 in the morning because that's when the customer's on their computer searching for a car. Same thing. I need a painter. I need a roofer, whatever, right? A lot of these, or even like busy business owners, right? Like there's certain things they do more early in the morning or late in the evening because they're not, running 100 miles an hour once they open for business, right? That's when they're dealing with customers. That's when they're dealing with their employees. They don't have a moment to breathe. And that's part of the challenge with a lot of these business owners, right? Is they can't get back to the prospects quick enough because they're busy. Especially we see it a lot in the home services business, right? They're out on a job and leads just sitting there. And when you need home services, normally you need them, right? And I'm just going to go to the next person, right? You didn't engage me. So I'll just go to the next one on Google and you just lost my business. Sorry.
Yeah, I always tell them that too. Like the contractors that we speak to, like I don't really care who I'm working with. Like me as a homeowner, right? If I need freaking, you know, the HOA's pissed off, I got to get rid of a bush. I just need someone to work with. I don't necessarily care who it is. So if you can be the first person there, that's best case scenario.
But
So,
yeah, back to the point. I mean, with what we've been able to do with Max, it just gets me super excited to be able to help more of the students in our community with their agencies, the business owners. I mean, our call we got off today, right? You referenced it a little bit earlier in the podcast, but he's extremely skeptical of AI, but he's all about automation. He's like totally going as fast as he can to automate everything in his CRM. And he was, so proud that, he wants to share it with us on the next call about all this automation he's built in N8N. But when you get to the voice part, he's like, oh no. I said, okay, you're wanting us to ramp up like we're doing cold email for him. You're wanting us to ramp up the cold email, right? I can tell you what's coming around the corner, right? Your salesperson, Mr. Salesperson, and he was on the call. He's not going to have time to follow up with all these leads. And he gets it, right? He sees what's coming. And he's like, yeah, yeah, you're right. Like, we're going to need some AI. And so, all right. So we have to show him that the voice can be good and not sound like a robot and at least perform at the level of his salesperson or possibly higher. And that's what gets me excited. Like it is possible for sure.
all right. And this is an example of what we're talking about. Like when people have their own voice in chat, it's very hard to keep up with it. It kind of becomes a full-time job. So we created Leadr to keep track of all the bot actions, and you can see a list of those actions as well. So I know exactly who booked a call, who's transferred, who's interested. Every single action that's done by the AI bot is tracked per user and per contact. So we know exactly who actually booked, and then I can click to go to their, go high level, so what I'm looking for, to their file. And we're going to go more in depth on this. This is like our first version of Leadr. We're very proud of it. So in the next Badaaas podcast, we'll get into that. But yeah, we were just talking about empathy today with these bots and, using that to optimize and get better results for our clients. And I think it's done a really good job internally. We're going to start to apply some of these principles to our clients, and I think the numbers will reflect here in Leadr.
Yeah, and Dan, just one more point I wanted to make. So I know we wanted to focus on empathy. The other thing that we've got our bot doing, right, on the B2B side is it goes ahead and does the research, right? That was another thing that I challenged the student with. Like, you're showing up to the call and you don't know anything about me. Like, it's just, but that's what the average salesperson does, right? They just call with their offer. Here's the benefits. Um, Basically, if I had to dumb it down, right, it's almost like, do you want it or not? Like, here's the benefits. Here's how we help other people, blah, 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 blah. It's just sales. And again, sales, if you want to make it easy, yeah, you can. You're not going to get great results, but you simplified it, you dummied it down. But showing up to the call and pitching your product versus showing up to the call, knowing something about their business, knowing something about them, calling them by their name. And again, the bot can do all of this. It's already outperformed the average salesperson just by doing that. And a lot of that can be accomplished in the first couple minutes of the call, which is critical. That's what I tell whoever we're talking to, whether it's a student or whatever. Like, you literally only have about 20 or 30 seconds to keep them on the phone. And if I did my research, you already impressed me that you're well beyond the average person that calls me, that knows nothing about me, knows nothing about my business. Because the only way you execute on empathy is to invoke that feeling in the customer that you get it, right? How can you get anything about them if you don't know anything about them? You don't know anything about their business. And then you go into understanding their pain points, right? Asking them some good questions without it feeling like an interrogation, which is one of the points I brought up to the student. Like, it feels like an interrogation to me. Like, you got your list of qualifying questions that you want to ask, one after the other, after the other. It's like, why do I want to stay on the phone for an interrogation? And of course, I don't want to move forward. I'm not gonna book a demo with you. You just interrogated me. Like, you asked me all these questions. You gave me very few benefits. And then, you know what most prospects are going to ask? Oh, how much is it? How much is it? Well, at that point, of course, it's all about price. You really didn't move me at all. So really, just tell me how much the thing costs. Well, it's $4.99 a month. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, I'll think about it. Send me an email, right? Send me more information. That's just a complete blow off, right? Like, you just wasted your time. Do they really care? Are they gonna look at their email? So yeah, I mean, just the fact that the bot can do that research literally in seconds and show up to the call informed. Like, again, the humans don't do that. They don't know anything. So that's how you get empathy.
And I want to do that so bad for everybody too. I think that in the next couple of weeks, we are going to see new AI agents coming out again. I've already seen some releases from like Vappy, Hume AI too. They're going to have new voices with like crazy tonality. If you guys have ever seen maybe the 11 Labs version 3, damn, that's real tonality that we're going to start to see already. I mean, you can go and test it right now, but it's going to be mass marketed very shortly. And I don't even know I can only imagine how much of an increase we're going to see, with our own clients. So I'm super excited for that.
Well, we'll end on this note. Two things. I don't want our audience to forget, like, our mission with Badaaas. Can we get a business to 100% automation? And that's my challenge for us at Badaaas. How close can we get to 100% automation? And most people, right, would say today, you're crazy. Like there's no way to 100% automate, especially a bit of a complex business. And I would say at this point, our business model is not so simplistic. Like there's a lot of moving parts, especially when we have to go custom build something for clients, which we've done, we're still continuing to do. I mean, every day we get presented with something new that they want that we need to build out, or we have to figure out how to connect it to another platform because they use this platform and I don't know, we've never dealt with it before. So we have to look at the API and make it work. Um, but yeah, just that's that's what we're all about. How much can we automate in a business? And I don't know, I lost my other talking point, something I wanted to say about the voice. You brought up the tonality and how it's getting better, but I don't know. I lost my other point. It happens with old age, just whoop, goes out the back. So
Sometimes if I wait 10 seconds, you'll remember it though.
yeah, it was definitely when you were talking about the improvement of the voice. Oh, I know what it was. So, all right, one goal, how close can we get to 100% automation in our business and take that and put it in other businesses? And of course, every business is different. So it's not an easy goal by any stretch. It's like I remind everybody in our group, like I love, I guess because my car background, right? Lexus, the constant pursuit of perfection. Um, you can never reach perfection, right? It's just how close can you get there? And that's the way I feel about the AI automation. Um, but I want the day to come where the customer says, can I be transferred to AI? Right? The human answers the phone and they're like, yeah, can I speak to Max? That's what I'm trying to get to. They would rather talk to the AI than the human. That's the goal.
That would be nuts. That would be the craziest case study I've ever seen. Someone's like, "Can I talk to the AI?" Look at this. I'm sending it to every single skeptic. Oh man, that'd be a good day.
It's going to happen, Dan. It's going to happen. Think about the Max in the car business, right? He's already informed, right? They had a good conversation with Max. This will not take long, I can assure you, because customers going to call in, they're going to get a rep, and the rep's going to say, how can I help you? And I'll be like, well, what do you mean? Like, I've been talking to Max. You don't know, like, I have a trade in and you don't know, like, what my offer was. Can I talk to Max? Right? That's going to happen when Max starts having hundreds and thousands of conversations. Like they're going to get comfortable with Max because Max knows everything about them. Let me talk to Max. So it's not far away for the dealership. And I think in general, again, with where we are with the voice, it's going to outshine humans quickly.
When you're trying to buy a car for your girlfriend, but your wife can't know, I gotta get that quick transfer to Max. No one can know
Oh
this. I gotta have
no.
Max on the line.
Oh no. Max, he'll let you know. He's sworn to secrecy too. Like your secret with Max. He makes sure he lets you know there is no information getting back to the wife on this covert operation. So if you ever call Max, he will tell you your secrets are safe with him, locked up in the AI vault, and nobody knows the combination.
If the wife calls in, she's literally still, we don't have it. That's not on your file, ma'am. I don't know. Did my husband come in and buy a car? I don't know. Can I help you?
Uh, uh,
But all right, cool guys. Well, we're gonna end it right there. We're gonna show off again Leader on the next one a little bit more. That way you guys can see what we're working on and all the improvements we made. But yeah, Greg, anything else before we wrap up?
Oh, you just gave me a great idea for to add in the prompt for Max. Max's response to that, I can neither confirm nor deny.
He's got to say something clever. Because if the wife is pissed, I mean, you can't. Ma'am, that's probably against the law or something. I don't know. You're not allowed to know. You don't have a need to know. Writing that one down.
All right, until next time.